Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in the South at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. Glad you all could be with us. Also, just tuning in around the world, thanks to iHeartRadio, Amazon Music Podcast, as well as Spotify. We're glad you all could be with us as well. We're excited to welcome to our program today two great guests who've been able to do amazing work individually, but also come together as well. We're excited to welcome Nakia-Burisse, also Catherine-Sutherland. You all know them as both actresses, but also individuals who've been able to be media personalities themselves. They host their own programs. We'll talk to them about that. They also are part of a very popular franchise that a lot of people probably know them for, that being the Power Rangers podcast. We'll talk to them about that, what it's been like for them to do work that they love, as well as events that they have coming up that you all can be a part of too. Nakia, Catherine, hello to you, and welcome to the program.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
The pleasure's definitely all mine.
To be here.
Oh, look, the pleasure's definitely all mine. You know, so the two of you really do everything now. I mean, you know, we got to know the two of you as actresses, but now you're hosting your own events. You're hosting your own shows. We're going to get into that. Nakia, I'll start with you. What has this experience been like for you to do what you love in front of the camera, but also behind the scenes as well?
You know, I didn't learn that I had a love for behind the camera until I started producing a web series back in 2015, a sitcom that I had written called Class Dismissed. And I just, oh my gosh, I learned to appreciate the whole producing side of things. It just really, to be able to bless people with work and to be able to be creative in such a different way was, it was so lovely, so lovely. With Power Rangers Playback, Kat and I have been friends since we've been on Power Rangers. Actually, my screen test was with Kat, and that's when I first met her 20-something years ago, 1995. I'll just say it that, 1995. And a long time ago. And to be able to work with her and to come up with our own show, Power Rangers Playback, has just been extraordinary. We found that going to different cons, visiting different cons, and meeting fans from all over the world, they would always ask us questions about, how did it feel to be in episode 536 when you did this? And we wouldn't remember half of the stuff. But they would ask us about our time on Power Rangers. And so we thought, why don't we just start a YouTube channel where we just cover all of that? And then because of copyright claims, because we were using some of the footage from Power Rangers, we had to become even more creative, and that's where we came up with the game show, Power Rangers Trivia, called Who Knows It Best. Then we came up with Power Cook-Off. Then we came up with live guests, and now we have members. So it's just really expanded, and it's been such a wonderful, wonderful opportunity and blessing and adventure to do it with my best friends.
Wow, that is awesome. Catherine, what about for you? I mean, what has this experience been like for you? I mean, even before Power Rangers, to be able to do work that you love in front of the camera and to see the response to it.
Yeah, it truly is a blessing. You know, it's a very difficult industry to break into, and I feel truly blessed and grateful that I have had the opportunity for all these years to be a part of the industry and be paid to do what I love. But, you know, I think we live in a really interesting time because we have so much ability now to create your own content and be seen all over the world. You know, YouTube and social media has opened up so many doors for people, whereas we used to rely on castings and auditions. Now we get to be a bit more creative and reach a bigger audience on our own. So I've really enjoyed this process. You know, Nakia and I are very different in our approach to work sometimes. She is such an inspiring person in terms of her work ethic, and she makes me better. She brings me up to that level. And so it's been so fun because we just feed off each other's creativity, and it just keeps growing and developing. And I'm really enjoying that process because I've never done that before. That's a whole new ball game for me. So So I'm starting to learn more about producing and shot lists and all these things that I hadn't even thought of before. So it's been really fun. So.
Nakia, you bring up an interesting point that I appreciate that, Catherine. Nakia, you bring up an interesting point that I think a lot of creatives can learn from, especially post-COVID, right, as we're now, or in the times that we're in, and that is creating your own content. It's one thing to be a part of someone else's vision, but to be able to create your own. That takes a lot of courage, though. What do you think kind of helped you to do that? And, Kat, I'm going to ask you a similar question. What do you think kind of gave you the courage to step out and say, Nakia, I'm not going to wait on someone else for an opportunity. We're going to create our own thing?
I have always been into comedy. And, my first show after Power Rangers was a sitcom called Smart Guy, where I was a guest star and played love interest to one of the leads. And so I remember having a conversation with my agent and just telling her that I love comedy. I love character acting. And I wasn't really getting a chance to do a lot of character acting. And she was like, well, I really don't feel like that. And I'm like, well, I do. This is how I see myself. So why don't I just create something so you can see what I'm talking about? And so I took it upon myself to develop a show that was loosely based on my life before Power Rangers, during Power Rangers, and after Power Rangers. And I wanted people to see, because I have done a lot of comedy. I've done a lot of sitcoms. I'm currently a recurring on a show called Danger Force, which is on Nickelodeon. I play a mother to two superhero twins, which is pretty funny, seeing that I was the past superhero. But I wanted to create something that I love and that I would be able to have all control over. I've been on so many sets where there's been some really, really great sets to be on. Then there's those sets where you're like, okay, I just want to come here, I'm going to do my job, and I just want to be out because it was just so chaotic and so intense. So I really wanted to create something, not just for myself, but also for the other workers that were a part of my production. I wanted them to see how I felt a production could be run. And I just remember the feeling on our set, like getting thank yous from even those that were in the background, because they just felt so invited and so included. They weren't separated, because everyone knows you cannot make a television show, a movie, or anything if you do not have background actors. They add so much to a performance, to a show, to a movie. And so I just wanted to create something that was my own, that gave me the freedom where I can do whatever I want, pretty much. And Kat, what about you? I mean, did it seem like a natural thing that, while you enjoy working on other projects, that you would be able to create your own content?
Yeah, it wasn't ever something that I had considered. I'm a writer, so I do that, but I hadn't thought about it on camera. I'd always kind of entertained the idea of a podcast. I loved the idea of that, but it wasn't until we were at a convention in Scotland, and there was these two voiceover actors, Nolan North and Troy Baker, who were next to us, and they had this really long line, and people were wearing these shirts that said Retro Replay, and Nakia and I are like, what's Retro Replay? Oh, that's their YouTube channel, and that's what most people were there to see them for, was their YouTube channel. So basically they would go on and play games and talk about the games that they voiced. They'd be playing the games that they voiced, and they created this amazing audience. And Nakia and I, they were best friends, and Nakia and I are looking at them going, why are we not doing something like this? This is like a natural step for us. And so we just started throwing out different ideas of like, well, we could do this, we could do that, we could do adventures with Kat and Kia, blah, blah, blah. But when we really thought about our fandom and what they want from us, that's how we thought about, let's watch shows and talk about our time on the show. And it's like a behind the scenes of Power Rangers. And it's just because her and I feed off each other so much, and we're both very creative in different ways, it's just grown legs and become so much bigger than we expected. And that's the exciting part of it, is that you just don't know where it's going to go next. And all these opportunities have come up from it. And that's the blessing in 2020, was that when we started our channel, it was right before the pandemic hit, and it was something, people were looking for something to make them laugh, to make them feel good about themselves, and that's what we wanted to give them. And so it just grew, and we had so much more time because we weren't working as much, we weren't traveling, so we had the time to invest in it. And it's been so fun to just to do that and to bless people and make them feel good. We all need to feel good, right? That's the goal.
Yes.
So,
yes, that's a great point.
Yeah.
And now, as I mentioned, part of the blessing of what's happening this year with things opening back up is that people are able to actually spend time with individuals again. In Arizona, Nakia, how does that feel to be able to connect once again in person with your fans?
Oh, my goodness. I use blessing a lot, but that's because I feel like I'm blessed by God to even be in this type of genre, if you could say. But first, when traveling, meeting fans again, it was so exhilarating. I just really thrived off of seeing the fans and being able to talk and being out of California and just feeling alive again, because you get kind of, COVID has been many things for many people, and there's been good things and bad things that have come from it. People have become more creative and so forth. But then you also get, I've noticed that I've become so used to being at home that I looked forward to being at home. I'd go to the grocery store and I'd be like, okay, I'm going home soon. Yay. So to be able to get out of that element and to be able to travel and see fans and feel like I'm taking a step forward back into what my life was before was just amazing. So
does it surprise you, or does it seem like it was meant to happen, that the Power Rangers, franchise has such an incredible and loyal following that they get so excited about opportunities like this?
It did surprise me when I first started doing this. So Nakia and I, our very first convention was in 2009 at Anime Expo in Los Angeles. And we were both contacted by someone through I think it was through MySpace. That's how long ago that was. He's like, are you interested in doing a convention? I didn't know what a convention was. I was like, what? For what? What are you asking me for? Oh, for Power Rangers. I said, people still watch Power Rangers? He's like, oh, yeah. And I said, well, what am I supposed to do? He said, just show up. And I said, what, do I need to bring anything? He said, I'll make pictures up for you. So Nakia went on the Friday. I wasn't able to go because I was a mommy, a new mommy. I had a 1-year-old baby. I was like, what? My life was in a blur. And she goes, oh, my gosh, Kat, there is lines of people here. Like, there's lines of people to meet us. I said, are you serious? And she's like, I can't believe this. And so I go on Saturday, and it was crazy. Like, I couldn't believe it. And it was so overwhelming to me. And our fans are, along with the Star Wars and the Star Trek fans, I would say is probably the most loyal and incredible fandom in the world. But, I mean, they are just, no matter where we go, from England to Paris to Texas to Arizona, wherever it is, they are so grateful, and they share all these amazing stories about what the show did for them. And here we were on this little cheesy kids show, not just grateful to have a job, not knowing the impact that we were having on all these people. And we hear story after story of like, oh, you made me believe I could be something, or, you helped me get through bullying, or, Nakia hears all the time little girls going, I was so grateful to have someone that looked like me on television, and just stuff like that all the time. And it truly is, it doesn't get old. I mean, Nakia and I, we finish every day and we're just like, oh my gosh, like we cry, we laugh with them. It's such a joy, and it's such a gift to be able to be that kind of an impact in someone's life. So, it's the hardest thing I think with COVID for me was that re-entering has been hard, because Nakia and I are both huggers. We love to hug and give the babies kisses, and we love the little kids, and so it's been really hard to not connect with people that way. You're in a mask, you're at a distance, and you just, it's hard for me to not want to hug people. So that's been a challenge.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's beautiful to be able to connect with our fans. I love it.
Well, I know they're excited about this opportunity to be able to connect with you all now, and as things are easing up, I know, they look forward to more opportunities like this. So we have to let our audience know then how they can stay connected with the two of you. Nakia, let's start with you. How can our audience be able to connect with you, kind of stay up with what's going on with you?
Well, I'll start with our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel called Power Rangers Playback, and again, that's on YouTube. And for those fans that are looking for great Power Ranger content, we sit and we watch our episodes. We comment. We also have guests that watch their episodes that were on Power Rangers, tell you what was going on, where we filmed. You really get the inside scoop. We have a Power Rangers trivia game. We have so much content on Power Rangers Playback, and we also have team membership. So if you're interested in becoming one of our members talk to us and become family to us. We have Patreon, which is Power Rangers / Power Rangers Playback. My personal pages are Instagram, nakia-burisse, Twitter, nakia-burisse, and Facebook, nakia.burisse.
All right. You made it easy for us. And, Catherine, what about for you? How can our audience stay connected with?
We actually have social media for Power Rangers Playback also. That we have a lot of content on that too. And we also include our podcast Super Chat with Kat and Nakia. You can find that on any podcast platform. Most people listen to it on Apple or Spotify, but it's available on your favorite platform. And that's another way to kind of hear our lives and what's going on in our world and how we feel about things. It's a little bit more of an intimate, not so Power Ranger related topic. And then I have personal Instagram is catherine_sutherland, and I have Facebook, which is Catherine-Sutherland Official. We also have a Facebook page for Power Rangers Playback, and we have Twitter for Power Rangers Playback, which is Power Playback. This is a lot of information.
Yes.
People should have got their pens out. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, and then we have a TikTok page. We just started a week ago, and it's a whole new world, TikTok. Like two old ladies trying to figure it out.
Well, the great thing is we'll be able to link this up for our podcast audience. For our radio audience, we'll put it on our Facebook page for the radio station so you guys can be able to get it there. Again, everyone, nakia-burisse and Catherine-Sutherland have been our guests. Thanks to the two of you. Really appreciate you for coming on the program today. Congratulations on all the great things you've been able to do and the great things coming up, and looking forward to having you back on the program again.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
You as well. Yes. Thank you for that. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.